What is good? What is happening, everybody? It's your boy Fares and Muthana, and welcome to another great episode of The Rally. Because I am hyped, because some of these matches have gone off the rails, bad shit crazy. We got 10, we got tiebreakers going in the 20s, we got upsets, we got people just completely falling apart in the fifth set, getting bageled. And to talk about all of that with me, it is the one, the only, it is the treasure trove of tennis knowledge. It is Adelia Chamberlain. Adelia, how are you?
I'm doing good, Ferris. No one has ever called me a treasure trove of knowledge before, so that was an interesting intro. Really happy with how the Australian Open is playing out so far. There have been some phenomenal matches and big upsets, and we're going to talk about it all here today.
All right, Adelia. Like I said, we have tiebreakers going into the 20s. Let's talk about that match. It was in the
Oh my
second
god.
round. It was a second round. It was Elena Rybakina upset by
Anna
the,
Blinkova.
Anna Blinkova, the young Russian lady. So it was 6-4 Blinkova in the first round, in the first set. Then it was 6-4 Rybakina in the second set, and then all hell broke loose. Both women go to a 6-6 tiebreaker. In the final set, it's 10, not 7, it's 10. So they have to get to 10.
Yeah, it's a match tiebreak. It's not
It's
just a regular tiebreak.
Exactly. But they were like 10. 10? That's weak.
Let's double that.
Let's go to 20. And that's what happened. Elena Rybakina unfortunately loses to Anna Blinkova 22-20, because you have to win by 2 in the final set. And all I say is this, man, it was pure class tennis. Pure class tennis. Adelia, give me, because really the first 2 sets don't matter because they were boring. It's the last set that matters. Take me through your emotion going into that tiebreaker.
It was just really phenomenal tennis from both ladies. This was happening. It was the first night session match that night. And so it was happening at like 3 a.m. my time. But I could not stop watching, especially once they got to that match tiebreak. I had work the next day. It didn't matter. I was up at 6 a.m. still watching this tiebreaker going on because this match took 3 hours plus the play. The tiebreak was phenomenal. There was a total of 11 match points for both ladies in that tiebreak before Anna Blinkova finally won it. She called it the best day of her life. I can understand why. That was a huge moment for the young lady. And yeah, it's just phenomenal tennis. Some of the backhands that were being hit in that tiebreak, some of the forehands that were being hit in that tiebreak were just stupidly amazing.
Yeah, man, I believe that one time one of the forehands froze Elena Rybakina where she couldn't move, where and it just came down the line by Blinkova. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, what is going on right now? And so I ended up watching it the following day, right before the 4 o'clock matches for me, which I am on the West Coast. It's 4 o'clock for me. Those when the matches begin. I wake up to a message from Adelia saying like, Fares, you have to watch this match. You need to watch this match.
I was like, I can't stop watching. I have to go to work, but I can't stop watching. You have to watch this.
Yeah, she's like, even if you don't watch the match, watch the tiebreaker. I was like, fine, Adelia, I'll watch it. And here's the problem. I accidentally look up the match beforehand. I don't accidentally. I look it up, and I see 22-20 in the. I'm like, and I texted this like, these ladies with the 20 tie breaks. Like, what?
Yeah.
What in the John Isner, Nicholas Mahut am I gonna watch? You know what I mean? I was like, what's gonna happen? And I'm watching it at work because tennis waits for nobody, even if you're at work, it waits for no one. And I'm just like, as customers are walking in and out, I'm watching this just the resolve of Blinkova, right?
Yeah.
Just to resolve her, because she's going against the number 3 player in the world, one of the women I've dubbed the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse. And the apocalypse was stopped in this tournament. Probably another woman's gonna, do it. We still got Arena Sabalenka and Coco Gauff in the play because something else crazy happened in round 3. We'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, she's so resolved. She didn't give up.
No.
We talk about a lot how the reason Roger, Rafa, and Novak always won matches because they would win them before the match even began. But I think with women's tennis, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No one's scared of nobody. It's like and like you in women's tennis, you have a bunch of these women who are like one-time Grand Slam champions or two-time Grand Slam champions because that woman was hot in one tournament and like got one. You know what I mean? Like you see, you're like, oh, that person won a Grand Slam. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know. So, but in the men's side, it's those three and Stan Wawrinka and Andy Murray. It was one of those five men. You know what I mean? It was no one else. It was no one ever got hot and stole Roland Garros away from not Rafa. You know, that never
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but in the women, it happens all the time.
It
Who
does.
cares if you're three? Who cares if you're two, one? Even if you're one, you know what? Because guess what? Iga Swiatek lost in the round three. Like
Yeah.
your seeding means nothing on the women's side. It means nothing, nothing, and I
The
quite enjoy
women's
it.
side, yeah, the women's side is definitely more unpredictable than the men's side. The men's side kind of, there's been some upsets in the men's side, and we'll get to some of those in a few minutes. But the men's draw is moving together more as you would have projected it with the seeds going through.
Mhm.
The women's draw, 7 of the 32 seeds made it to the fourth round, which is just nuts.
Yeah, we got a 16-year-old. We got 18-year-old and Coco Gauff. She's still not 21. Like she's still a
Yeah,
teenager. You know what I
she's
mean?
still a teenager.
Yeah.
I think
Blinkova,
she's 19, but
she's
yeah.
19. Oh, my bad. Sorry. But she's still a teenager. She can't drink. Okay. She can't drink. That's
No, she can't
that,
drink.
you know what I mean? That's why. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing watching it.
Yeah,
Adelia,
absolutely.
any other matches you want to go through that men's or women's that popped in? Well, no, let's stick on the women's side. Any other
Let's
matches
stick
on
on
the
the
women's
women's
side?
side.
Yeah.
From round 2, let's see. We had the let's talk about some of the upsets in round 2. We had Jess Pagula going out to Clara Burrell.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have expected that, but Jess looked like on court like she just didn't want to be there. She's been sick. She pulled out of Adelaide the week before the Australian Open started because of an illness, and I'm wondered because she lost this match to Burrell and then immediately pulled out of the doubles with Coco. So I wonder if she's just too sick to be able to play.
Uh-huh.
So she's probably back in the States by now, getting ready to watch the Bills in their playoff game this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Emma Navarro, the young American who is the 27th seed, she's won Hobart the week before the Australian Open. She's moving through the draw nicely. She's got until she lost in the third round, excuse me, and to Diana Yastremska, who is a qualifier into the fourth round of the Open. Vika Azarenka has been looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
She had a third round match last night against Yelena Ostapenko, one of those women who has a Grand Slam because she got hot and won a Grand Slam tournament. And yeah, she won the French Open a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Vika into the fourth round. She's going to take on Yastremska. That's looking good. Alina Svitolina, I feel like, is also going underneath the radar here.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
She had to have been expecting a matchup against Iga in the fourth round. Instead, she gets Linda Noskova because she beat Iga last night.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she's only like 18 or 19 as well. Phenomenal match. She
She's
really just
19 years
held.
old.
Yeah,
She's
she's
19 years old.
19. There's a
I
real
get
youth movement going on in this tournament.
that's a lot of youth movement going on in the Czech Republic. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
That's another young Czech player in this tournament. Going through the stats, Adelia, right here. 10 aces for Noskova to 4 for Swiatek. She did have more double faults than Swiatek, 4-1. First serve in percentage tied at 63%. Win first serves, Noskova won 71%. And then the fastest serve went to Swiatek. Winners and errors, the winners 34-35 for Noskova, and unforced errors right here, which is crazy. Noskova had more at 37 and Iga had less at 33. But, you know, sometimes the stats don't really tell you anything because it's about which point do you win at which moment in the match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Um,
It's not about the overall points and errors in their
yeah.
match.
Yeah. Linda served really, really well in this match. When she went to serve for the match, she couldn't really find a first serve at first. And
Mhm.
at 30, they were at 30 all. Then she served her 10th ace for match point, and then a big first serve to get the game. Like, that's impressive for a 19-year-old. Like, she Iga did not look very good in this match, really. I mean, she didn't look like Iga, I should say. Like, she didn't like play horribly or
She
anything
should
like that.
she shouldn't have beat Daniel Collins.
She should not have beaten Danielle Collins, and I know there was a lot of people saying like, oh, she's made it through these first two tough first round matches between Kenin and then the second round match against Collins. That should relax her and put her at ease, and she'll play better from here on out. And then, like, no, that just
No,
didn't happen.
no, it didn't.
And so Iga is not going to win the Australian Open this year. We have a quarter of the draw. Um, the second quarter of the draw, winner would face the top quarter, where we're going to have a first-time Grand Slam semifinalist, because in the fourth round we have Jasmine Paolini of Italy against Anna Kalinskaya. Anna Kalinskaya took out Sloane Stevens last night. She looked really, really good doing that.
Yes, she did.
And then we also have Qinwen Zhang is going to take on Oceane Dodin of France, for a spot in the quarterfinals. Like, I suspect Zhang will come out of this section into the semifinals, but who knows at this point?
Yeah. Literally, who knows? Who
Qinwen
knows?
Zhang is the 12th ranked player in the world. She's very, very good. She took on another Chinese player, Yafan Wang, last night, and she looked shaky at points in that match. But she got the job done in the end.
Wong beating Emma Raducanu in the second round.
Yes, that was a good win for her.
Yeah, identical set winners 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. But it went to Wong, won 2 out of 3. Ideally, I want to talk about the two young Russian girls.
Yeah, they're on the other half of the draw here.
They're
So
on the
let's do
bottom
that.
half. Yeah, they're on the bottom half. First, it was Timofia, who beat Caroline Wozniacki. We already talked about. But then she was going against the number 10th ranked woman in the world, Bella Hadid. She played very well. She held her serve very well. Hadid kind of struggled against it. And it just she came back in the first set. I believe she was down. She was down, I believe, 5-2, I think, in the first set. I think. I don't know for a fact. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she came back and beat her in the first set in a tiebreaker, 9-7. It wasn't 22. It wasn't 22-20, but
No.
it was another slightly above the 7 or the 10. And I think from that point forward, Hadid Maya, she was like, I had this match, and now I don't.
Yeah.
And the young Russian girl, Timofia, I think her name is Maria. Is it Maria
Yes,
Timofia?
Maria Timofeva.
Yeah, Maria Timofia. She just took it from Hadid Maya. You know, the
Yeah.
stats show 1 ace to the 0 for Hadid Maya. First serve percentage 67% Timofia to 68% Hadid Maya. But here it is, win first rate percentage right here. Here's the big discrepancy: 80% for Maria, 65% for Hadid Maya. So she wasn't winning her first set compared to Maria on the other side. Like I said,
Yeah.
she held the serve very well, and she kind of commanded the court with good presence. And she is going into the fourth round against Marta Koscheck. So good for her. How did you see that match, Delia?
Beatrice Haddad Maya is a very, very good player, and Maria Timofeva just outplayed her which is impressive. I believe that's the first top 10 win of her career. I could be wrong about that, but I think I read that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And like, as you get further into these tournaments, the pressure builds, because you're getting one step closer to winning. And for Maria to come out there and just hold her nerve the way that she did, and all of that, so that was really impressive. Equally as impressive, Fares, is Mira Andreeva, the 16-year-old Russian, who this match against Diane Perry
Uh-huh.
is just phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, I have to. So the tennis podcast tweeted out something. I think it was a quote for one of the announcers watching the match when it was
Mhm.
5-1. It was 5-1 Perry, and they were talking about how Mira and Andreeva needs to. So
Are we talking about
she
5-1 Perry in the third set?
yeah, she was, they were
Okay.
talking about how, oh, she's 16, she needs to have better resolve. The mental aspect of the game is getting to her. And it's 5-1 and you're like, "Oh yeah, makes sense to say that. She's
Yeah.
16, she's finally faulted." And then guess what happened after he said that? Or the I don't know which announcer said it. It was the quote after
Yeah.
they said that. He wins 7-6.
She she did. She came back to tie it at 5, just playing some phenomenal points.
Yeah.
Really smart tennis from Mira Andreeva. Diane Perry was getting frustrated. You could tell. But that she got it to the tiebreak. The tiebreak was pretty back and forth for a while. Just a phenomenal performance from Mira Andreeva. She will next face Barbara Krejcikova, who took
Mm-hmm.
out the Aussie Hope Storm Hunter. Krejcikova is sort of under the radar in this tournament. She's another former Grand Slam champion, winning the French Open a couple of years ago. Um, she's got a test in Andreeva. Mira Andreeva has officially arrived on the WTA tour. She still can't play a full schedule because of her age. She's going to be 17, I believe, in April.
Uh-huh.
So she'll be able to add more tournaments after that, because they limit the number of tournaments people of certain ages can play, so that
Makes
you're
sense.
not, yeah. Um, so we've got that. This matchup is in Sabalenka's quarter. Sabalenka, who double bageled Lesia Sharenko in the third
Mm-hmm.
round. Uh, that was a crazy match. Through 3 rounds, Sabalenka has lost 6 games. That's insane.
That's insanity.
Her next opponent will be Amanda Anisimova, who took out Paula Badosa. That was another good match, Anisimova and
Mm-hmm.
Badosa. There was a little bit of concern for Anisimova in that match. She had to call the trainer. She just kept bending over and saying that she felt sick. So I hope that she's all right, because
Uh-huh.
it's great to have her back on the tour and to see her playing well. I don't think she's going to get double bageled by Sabalenka, but Sabalenka is in a just one of those moods where
Yeah.
she's playing phenomenally well.
Well,
Um,
actually, fun fact, they've faced each other 5 times
they
on
have,
the tour, and Anna Samova 4-1.
yeah.
So I don't know if
Um,
that's gonna mean anything or may mean something. We'll
I don't
see.
know. We will
But
see.
Anna Samova, you could see, she could tell herself, "I've beaten this woman four times." The
Hmm.
and it's not like, oh, we faced only twice. It's like we faced 5 times
Yeah,
and four
I
and one
don't know.
against her.
I don't know that she's faced Sabalenka since Sabalenka won the Grand Slam last year, which
Yeah,
put
no,
her
no,
in a different mindset or anything.
yeah, yeah.
But that should be a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
And in the top half of the quarter there, we have Coco Gauff, um, who just pretty much destroyed Alicia Parks.
Yeah.
11-2, I believe, was the score of that
Mm-hmm.
match.
Mm-hmm.
Coco's really looking good. Not as dominant as Sabalenka is, but she's really looking good. She gets Magdalena Freck in the next round,
Yes, he does.
who has never made the 4th round of a Grand Slam before. She took out the qualifier Zakharova, but she'd beaten Caroline Garcia in the second round. Magdalena, who had taken out Naomi Osaka in the first round. So like she's had some good wins. And then the other fourth round match in there, Timofeva versus Marta Kostyuk, the Ukrainian, who has come through the section that was projected to be Sakari versus Mertens, and it turned out to be Avanesian versus Kostyuk.
Yep.
So
Evanescent dropping Marie Sakkari 6-4, 6-4 in straight sets.
Yeah.
And then Kostyuk going to the third tiebreak where she won 10-6.
Yeah.
Against Mertens.
So that's basically the women's draw. Fares, do you have any final thoughts on the women's draw?
No, not really. Kind of. I've just been when I'm watching a women's match in the Australian Open, I honestly don't know who's gonna win. I honestly don't know. Like I see these seeds and I'm like, oh, that's a cool seed, you know, that's nice. But that means nothing. It means nothing really.
True.
Like, yeah, like Andreeva could take out Barbara Krejcikova, you know, Anisimova could beat Aryna Sabalenka. I don't think it's gonna happen because I think she's in a different mindset, in a different, you know, she's not playing with her food. She's saying like, y'all, you know, six getting bageled, you know, 6 love, taking people off the court quickly and efficiently. Kind of like someone a couple years ago did. Her name was Ash Barty, where matches would only last an hour and a half, 2 hours max, and you're out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that.
The double bagel from Sabalenka was the first since Ash Barty double bageled. I forget who in the year she won the Australian Open.
Yeah. So there's that. I did not have any high hopes for Iga Swiatek in the following round because she shouldn't have lost. She should have lost to Danielle Collins.
She should have lost to
Danielle Collins. 5-1. It was 5-1. She should have won. And you know, that I think that game kind of stung Danielle Collins pretty bad because she got her stuff and she got out. She got her stuff and got out. She did not want to be there.
And then in the press conference she did after the match, she said that this is going to be her final year on tour. So this is the last time Danielle Collins is going to be playing the Australian Open.
Yeah.
And for that to be the match where she was that much ahead and just completely fell apart has to really sting, I think.
Exactly. So Iga losing?
It's not as surprising. She looked good in her first two matches, but she didn't look spectacular like Sabalenka has.
No.
And
Sabalenka's been cooking with grease, setting stuff on fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know me, I think the only woman who could take her out is the woman who took her out in the US Open final. And that's going to be Coco Gauff. But Coco has to go through Freck and the winner of Timofeva and Kostyuk. And I believe they'll face in the semifinals.
Yeah, Coco and Sabalenka would be a semifinal.
They'll face in the semifinals. So they'll be in the semis on the one draw, and then on the other side, it's gonna be either someone who's never won a Grand Slam or Vika Azarenka. You know what I mean? Like, so everyone else on the side with Vika, no one's won a Grand Slam at all. No, like no one. So
except for Vika. I am thinking that we're probably going to get a quarterfinal of Svitolina versus Azarenka, which would be a phenomenal match, huge match, battle of the two. I believe the only two moms left in the draw.
Yes.
And then that second quarter, the bottom quarter in the top half of the draw, who knows what's going to happen with those four ladies? Paulini, Kalinskaya, Zhang, and Dodan. Any one of them, that would be the biggest achievement of their careers.
Exactly. But now let's flip it over to the male side of the Australian Open. We had a couple good matches in the third round and second round. Let's start with Adrian Manarino, Adelia. The 35-year-old lefty taking out the young American lefty Ben Shelton in 5 sets. A couple of let me see, tiebreakers in the first set and the third set, but the last 2 sets, Manarino winning 6-3, 6-4, and setting up a good matchup of Novak Djokovic and Adrian Manarino after Djokovic beat Thomas Echeverry. in that little matchup, Adelia, what were your feelings about that?
I was watching the Shelton Manarino match, and I thought Ben was playing really well, and then I fell asleep, and I haven't seen the second half of the match yet, so I can't really comment on how Manarino came back to win that one in 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it sucks that Ben Shelton's out, because I really would have preferred to see Djokovic Shelton than I would have Djokovic Manarino. Djokovic is going to destroy him most likely, so um, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
that. Uh, we have coming up in the 4th round as well, Fritz versus Tsitsipas. After Fritz got past Fabian Marozsan,
the young
um,
the young
the
Hungarian.
young
Yes.
the young Hungarian, who is playing really well. He did well in Auckland the week before the tournament and made it to the 3rd round here, so that's good. Tsitsipas has taken out lucky loser Zizou Bergs, Jordan Thompson, which is a good win because Thompson beat Nadal in the Brisbane tournament, warm-up tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luca Van Asche, one of the another youngster on the tour, Frenchman. So Tsitsipas, I feel like hasn't really been tested yet. He's gonna get tested by Fritz
Yeah.
for
Well,
sure.
also too, Adelia, to talk about the Manarino Shelton match, I watched it most of the match.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like Manarino just kept hanging around. He just kept
That's what he
hanging
does.
around. Yeah, he just kept hanging, and then Shelton didn't take him out. And
Yeah.
then Manarino was like, "Oh, I'm still hanging around. Okay, I'm gonna win this match." And he
Yeah.
took it from Ben Shelton. And that's the way that's the way it felt like, because you needed to, because Ben Shelton was up two sets to one after the first three.
Mm-hmm.
He wins the second set 6-1. He wins a
Yeah.
6-1. Everyone's like, oh. And then in the second set, Manarino just hung around and they go to a tiebreaker. And Shelton wins 7-2. And Shelton was up like 5-0 in the tiebreaker. And then,
Mm-hmm.
he then won out. And then he should have won that fourth set. He should have taken him out, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And Manarino just like, I'm still here. 35-year-old looking like a super villain with his shaved head, with
Mm-hmm.
the, he's looking like a rec league tennis player, just showing up to a park with your baggy jeans and your,
Yeah. He doesn't seem to have a kit sponsor, so he's in just like a gray t-shirt and some shorts.
yeah, and he's like, it's like you're watching your uncle say, "I'm gonna play tennis." And you're
Yeah.
like, all right, go play some tennis. But you realize your
Adrian
uncle's playing.
Manarino. Yeah, go ahead first.
It's like your uncle, when the uncle just says, "Oh, I'm gonna play tennis." You're like, "Okay, yeah, go play at the park." But no, the park he's playing at is Australia, the Australian
Yeah.
Open. Like, oh, that's not the park I didn't know you were talking about. You
Yeah.
know, that's what Adrian Manarino looks like.
Yeah, Adrian Manarino is a player that I watched. I remember this distinctly. Watched like probably 12 years ago. Capitulated 2-sets-to-love lead on against Fernando Verdasco at the U.S. Open, and I just remember thinking like, "Oh, he's a good player, Manarino, but I can't see him ever really doing anything." And then now here he is, 35 years old, I believe, and he's in the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
What? Like Manarino had a hell of a year last year, so kudos
Good
to
for
him.
him. Good for him, man. Good for him. As we
He's
as we
gonna lose to Djokovic.
oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what happened with Thomas Echeverry. Echeverry just like
Yeah, he
Echeverry.
Echeverry took out Murray and Monfils and then completely capitulated to Djokovic.
Yeah. So like I don't, like we said, Adelia, they lose matches before they even step on court.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that Djokovic will be
hmm,
tested by either Fritz or Tsitsipas in the quarterfinals. Not sure who's gonna win that matchup though.
no, I don't either. If Tsitsipas wins, it's a rematch of the final last year. If Fritz win, it's I know another victim
I
probably.
think I think Stefanos probably has the better chance against Djokovic,
Hmm.
but I don't know that he'd be able to beat him.
I wouldn't say that, Adelia, because I watched him in a final get completely.
Yeah, but he's also in a Grand Slam final against Djokovic, been up 2-sets-to-love at the French, and then Djokovic came back to win.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But
So
the
yeah,
mental side, of him being up 2-sets-to-love and losing, that could do some damage. But
yeah,
we'll see if he bounces back. But someone doesn't need to bounce back, and he's just been like a machine, taking people left and right and center. It is Mr. Seven Deadly, Yannick Sinner. My
He's
man.
been impressive so far.
I think he hasn't gone to a fourth set all tournament. It's been it's
Um,
been three straight sets, I think, Adelia. The third round, he beat the Argentinian Sebastian Baez.
yeah, he
Six.
beat Baez in straight sets.
And then the previous round he beat the the Dutchman Jesper de Gong in straight sets, and I
He beat
believe
Jesper Young in straight sets. Yeah, let me see where was his first round match.
he beat the other Dutchman B van de
Oh,
Genschop
Van de Zandschulp, Botik Van de Zandschulp
in straight sets.
in straight sets. Okay, so yeah, he hasn't lost to say yet. Giannis Sinner's looking really good.
There he is.
Really, really phenomenally playing well. Um, he's got a real chance, and I think if it does end up being Djokovic versus Sinner in the semifinals, which I kind of feel like it would be, that's a match that I'm really looking forward to because we saw at the end of the year Sinner beating Djokovic twice, um, but those were indoors.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see what an outdoor hard court semifinal of a slam kind of match would do for Sinner. But he's got to have confidence that he can beat Djokovic because he knows that he can beat Djokovic because he's done it twice in the last 6 months.
Exactly. He does have to go through Karen Hashanov, which is a tough matchup. But Hashanov is coming off of a long match against the young Czech. How you say
Uh,
Mak
Toma,
Tomas
Tomas Machak, I
Tomas
believe is how it's
Machak.
pronounced.
Yeah, Tomas Machak. He, I believe he's only 20. He's 23. He's a youngster.
He's another young guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was two tiebreakers in the second set and in the fourth set, but Hashanov did pull out the victory in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But long set, kind of tired. Yannick Sinner cooking and cleaning his opponents in three straight sets. The energy could be on the side of Sinner. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go with Yannick Sinner in that match, but I really want Yannick. I want Yannick Sinner to win a major badly. I'm a big
I
fan
think
of him.
my like prediction for 2024 is that Yannick Sinner's probably going to at least reach a final this year. I don't know if
Mhm.
he's quite ready to win it, but the way he's playing, I think he's ready to win. Um, the other match in that quarter of the draw is Alex de Minaur, the Aussie Hope, against Andrei Rublev, who beat
Mhm.
Sebastian Korda in straight sets last night. De Minaur has come through the draw, taking out Milos Raonic in the first round.
Mhm.
Then he got Matteo Arnaldi, the Italian,
Back to back
and
Italians.
then last night he beat Flavio Caboli, the Italian qualifier. So he hasn't really had an opponent. I know Raonic is a good player, but Raonic is nowhere near the player he used to be. So he hasn't had a test yet. De Minaur, he's going to get one out of Rublev. Um, Rublev has now beaten Thiago Seyboth-Wild, Chris Eubanks, and Sebastian Korda. Those are some pretty good wins, especially the Korda
Mhm.
one, in my opinion. So Rublev, he went the unnecessary 5 sets in the first round because he should have beaten Thiago Seyboth-Wild way sooner than that.
Mhm.
But he's had, I believe, back-to-back straight sets wins now
Mhm.
against the two Americans. So he's rounding into form. Him and his rose-colored sunglasses, which just that visual still cracks me up.
He's
Um,
actually got rose-covered sunglasses.
yep. So there we go. That's the top half of the draw. The bottom half
Mhm.
of the draw. Um,
Well,
let's
shaking
talk
up.
about it's shaking up a little bit. Let's talk about Holger Rune losing to Arthur Cazot of
Mhm.
France. And Cazot backed up that win and beat Talon Griekspoor, the Dutchman, in the third round. So he's now got a fourth round matchup coming against Shibi Hurkacz.
Exactly. He didn't just beat Greek Sport. He beat him in straight sets. So
Yeah.
that's how you back up a victory over Hogarun. Hogarun just looked like didn't know what the hell, didn't want to like. He just, I don't know the energy from him from that match because I watched the match. The energy from that match just didn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't look good, and it was pretty bad. And
Yeah.
Hogaruna, I think sometimes his age creeps up on him. I don't know if he still has Patrick Mouratoglou in his corner, I
I
don't
think he
know.
does.
He
I think
still
he
does.
does.
Okay, let's
He's
see.
got he's got a new look coaching team this year. I believe Severin Luthi, who was Federer's coach for and the Swiss Davis Cup captain for forever.
Hmm.
I believe is part of Holger Rune's team now. He just didn't look like he wanted to be there by the end
Yeah.
of that match. Um, Not quite the what we want from Holger, but he it's the first tournament of the year. You can't judge how the year is going to go based off of the first major tournament of the year.
Hmm.
But a second round exit for Holger Rune is not what he would have wanted.
No, absolutely
Um,
not.
but Artur Cazot, let's talk about him for a minute. I'd never heard of this guy before this tournament.
Hmm.
He got the wild card, the reciprocal wild card, because the Aussie, the French, and the U.S. Open have this deal where it's like we pick a player from our country and you give them wild cards, and in return, when the slam is in our country, we'll give you a wild card to give to one of your people. So Artur Cazot got the French wild card, and he's just playing really well,
And
and
he's making the French board look good. He's making the
he
French
is.
board look good.
He's
Wait,
making
time
it
out.
look good.
Wait, what?
What?
What? So you
What?
telling me the French, the US, and the Australian Open have a deal where it's like
Yes.
you give us a wild card, we pick a player, and you allow him to play.
Yeah. And in
But
return, when it's the French Open, they will give the Australians a wild card for them to pick
and the
one of their
Americans,
youngsters, and the Americans, it's a deal. And so, like I believe it was McCartney Kessler in the first round that got the women's wild card. I don't know who got the men's wild card, for the Americans. But so they've gotten wild cards into Australia. So when the U.S. Open comes around, you will see that the Australians have two wild cards, one for the men, one for the women, that they will use to get into the U.S.
same thing.
Open, and the
Same
same
thing
with
with
the Roland
the
Garros.
French. So the French would also have two wild cards at the U.S. Open. Then at Roland Garros, the Australians and the Americans have a wild card at the
Yeah,
French Open. Okay, but
yeah.
Wimbledon's like, now we don't do that.
Wimbledon's not part of this now.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, they're probably like, we're Wimbledon. We're the All England club. Okay, we don't give
I
free
mean, they
passes.
do like to give their wild cards to young British talent and stuff like that. So
Oh, okay.
um,
They do it for themselves.
pretty much, yeah,
Understandable. Understandable, of
yeah.
course. Yeah, because
Um,
it makes sense.
Yeah. So Kazo Hurkacz in the fourth round, and with the way Arthur Kazo is playing, I think he has a chance to beat Hubie because Hubie has not looked the best.
Yeah, and Hubie kind of sometimes he just like mentally collapses. I've seen it on occasion where he just loses, and you're like, why'd you
Yeah.
lose to that person? Like, why did you lose to that person? Like, he it took him 5 sets to beat a qualifier,
Yeah.
and it's just like, and then it took him 4 sets to beat Ugo Umber, and a
Mm-hmm.
couple of another tiebreak set. Same thing with the first round and the second round. He went to two. He went to one tiebreaker set and one 7-5 set. But in the first round, I believe Hurkacz, well, he won in straight sets. But if Arthur Cazot wins, you know what? I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna go with Arthur Cazot. I'm
I
gonna go with
think
Arthur
Arthur
Cazot.
Kazo has a good chance to
Yeah,
beat him. Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go
Um.
with
The
Cazot.
the other section in this quarter, we have Daniil Medvedev coming through after that epic 5 set second round match against Emil Rusevori, which followed the Rybakina Blinkova match. So it started late, like half the crowd left, and then he goes down 2 sets to love, and you think, okay, this is going to be over soon. Nope. Medvedev comes storming back and beats Rusevori in 5 sets.
David
In the
won, yeah.
third round, yeah, in the third round, he took on Felix Auger-Aliassime and just beat him.
Straight sets.
I mean, straight sets. Felix has got a lot of work to do to sort of revitalize where he's
The
at. So we've got
FFA.
Medvedev.
He's been grounded. The FAA.
He has been. And then we've got Medvedev against Nuno Borges from Portugal, who took out Grigor Dimitrov in the third round, which is a
Previously
very
beating
impressive win.
and also beating the Spaniard um, his name Alejandro Dav Davidovich
Davidovich.
Davidovich
Davidovich.
Fokina,
Fokina, yeah.
the young 24-year-old out of Madrid. So back to
Yeah.
back victories over top opponents.
Yeah,
So
back-to-back victories over seeds.
mhm,
Really impressive. I've never heard of Nuno Borges before this tournament, but good on him for making the most of his opportunity.
mhm.
He's probably going to get destroyed by Medvedev the next round, but who knows? This tournament has had so many surprises you just can't predict.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, then
Then
in
the
the
bottom
bottom
half.
quarter, uh, the the bottom quarter of the draw, Zverev has come through. He's beaten a couple of really talented youngsters.
Uh-huh.
5 sets against Lucas Klein of Slovakia in the, I
Serbia.
believe he's Slovakia. Serbia? Is it Serbia?
Oh, it is
No, it's from
Slovakia. No, it is
Slovakia.
Slovakia.
In the second round, he had a real chance of losing that match. Zverev.
Mhm.
He it was an impressive. I believe that one also went to a breaker in the fifth set. So,
Back-to-back
um,
sets went to a breaker.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Zverev made it through, and then they took out the young American Alex Mickelson. After that, I believe in
Any
straight
relation
sets.
to Phil Mickelson?
No, it's spelled differently, but it's
Oh,
pronounced
okay.
Mickelson.
Okay.
And so he's made it to the fourth round, where he will take on Cameron Norrie, who has beaten Casper Ruud in the third round. I watched a little bit of that match. Norrie looked pretty much in control for what I saw.
What a shame of Casper Ruud falling from number 3 in the world to 11. Mm,
Yeah, he's got some work to do to rebuild his
yeah.
ranking. That's for sure. Not as much work as like Felix does, because Felix has dropped even further down
Yeah,
than
27.
Casper has. But I think Casper can do it. He just needs to put have some luck with the draws, so he can
Mhm.
build some matches that get him some confidence. Cam Norrie's a former top 10 player. I think he's going to really trouble Zverev, and we'll
Yep.
see what happens there.
Yeah, the stats really show that in this match, Adelia, 19 aces for Rude, so the aces really didn't matter for in this case because Nori only had 11. Right here's the win first serve percentage is in favor of Nori at 77%. First serve ends, it was 69% Rude, 61% Nori. But right here, second win percentage for the second serve, 62% Nori, 47% Rude. So
Yeah,
that's the key right
if you
there.
can't win your second serve points, then you're gonna get broken. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the way that it is.
Because in
So
the unforced errors category, Nori had more at 36 to 28.
mm,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
it was a high quality match, though. It was a really
yeah,
good match.
absolutely.
Um, and then the bottom part of this quarter, Tommy Paul had 2 match points in the fourth set, but loses to Miramir Kekmanovic after being bageled in the fifth set. I don't know what happened there. He was poised to win, lost out on the match points, and then didn't win another game. It's weird.
Just mentally just fell down flat on his face.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And then Kekmanovic moving on to the fourth round, where he'll take on Carlos Alcaraz, who was completely in control against the youngster from China, Jerry Shang, or
Then retired.
Shang, excuse me. But Shang came out on court with his legs, with his thigh all taped up, and then he called for the trainer, had them remove the strapping, and then retired at the beginning of the third set.
Yes. Alcaraz won one game. It was 1-0, and then it was over. Boom. I did it. Now let's move on to the fourth rounds. Which matches in the men's side are you going to keep your eyes on?
Well, Fritz Tsitsipas is really interesting to me.
Okay.
Just because Tsitsipas this is something that they were talking about with Nick Kyrgios the other day, I believe, which is Tsitsipas is changing his surface motion like in the middle of matches. So like he'll serve we talked about it on the last show, the platform and the pinpoint serve.
Mm-hmm.
He'll serve a platform serve, and then a couple games later he'll serve a pinpoint serve. He's doing both, which is very strange to me because you want your service motion to be automatic so that it's just a repetition, repetition, repetition. Muscle memory can take over, stuff like that. Why is he doing this? No one knows.
Could it be to confuse his opponent in the serving motions?
I mean, maybe, but like it's weird. It's very weird.
I didn't know. I didn't
Also,
notice that. I didn't notice that.
yeah. Also, looking forward to Diminor versus Rublev. That's probably going to be a night match. I think it's actually the night match tonight. Let me double check that while I'm talking. But Alex Diminor is a top 10 player. Yeah, it's the night match tonight. Diminor and Rublev. Rublev, of course, top 5 player. So this is a really good matchup to watch. Diminor's beaten Djokovic already this year in the United Cup. So he's got the ability to beat some big time players. And Rublev, I love Andrei Rublev to death, but sometimes he'll just go out there and implode. So
Yep,
who knows what that match is
absolutely.
going to be.
We have a couple of great fourth round matchups in the morning. 3 men matches. We have at 6:30 my time, which is 8:30 your time, American. Tsitsipas.
Say
Fritz.
Pacific and Central. They don't know what time zones we're in.
Okay, yeah. So 6:30 Pacific, 8:30 Central. It's Fritz Tsitsipas, and then but at the same time at Rod Laver. So Tsitsipas Fritz is on John Kane. Shout out to you, John Kane. I found out who you were during that documentary. You shout out to you, man. So yeah, at the same time at 6:30 at Rod Laver, it's Manarino Djokovic, and then at Margaret Court at 9 Pacific, 11 Central, it is Sinner Hashanov on Margaret Court. Should change it to Ivan Guliankali Court, but that's a conversation for another day. But then before, I think before the game with Djokovic and Manarino on Rod Laver is going to be Coco and Magdalena Freck on Rod Laver. And then on the show court arena, I don't know which is the show court. It could be Key Arena. It could be 1573 Arena.
The 3 show courts at the Australian Open are Laver, MCA, and John Kane Arena. There's also Key Arena and 50. If it has a name or a sponsor, it's probably a show court. And then the others are just court 3, court 5, like that.
Okay, yeah. So the Margaret Court Arena, I believe the second match. Well, the first match on Margaret Court Arena is going to be the women's match, Amanda Anisimova and Arina Sabalenka before the night.
That should be good.
And then on John Kane, which is after Tsitsipas Fritz, it's the 16-year-old Mira Andreeva versus number 9 in the world, Barbara Krejcikova. And then, the night matches, which is technically tomorrow for us.
Yeah. Technically, actually, the day they're being played.
Yeah. So yeah, that match, the only match I know right now that's TBD, that's actually been like stamped is Diminor Rublev at midnight my time, which is 2:00 your time.
Yeah, that's the night session match. They'll follow that up with a mixed doubles after it. I feel bad for those mixed doubles if that goes 5 sets.
Yeah. And these times are subject to change. They're subject to change due to length.
Subject to change, yeah. We've also got Kostyuk and Timofeva on Key Arena starting at 6 p.m. Pacific. So that's the singles matches. Yes, you did. You just read the 3 main courts.
Gotcha.
And then everything else everywhere else is doubles. So
yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
I believe Thanasi Kokkinakis is still in it, I think.
In the doubles?
Is he still in the doubles? Because I saw he was with, unless him and Alexei Popyrin lost.
Let me look real quick. You keep talking.
I was actually, So, but overall, it's going to be a good round matches. No, they lost. They lost.
They lost? Okay.
They lost on Thursday to an Australian and a German. Shout out to you. Andres Means and John Patrick Smith beat Alexei Popyrin and Thanasi Kokkinakis in 3 sets. Thanasi Kokkinakis will not get another Grand Slam championship. Damn. So shout out to you, the cock. Yo,
I still
and,
can't believe Nick Kyrgios sent that on ESPN.
you know, I don't think ESPN let it go because it's Nick Kyrgios.
I think they had no choice to let it go because it's live and they don't have censors. They probably just told him afterwards, "Don't say that again."
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Nick. But Adelia, was a
Fares.
nice rally.
Again, that's so wonderful for the audio feed.
It's me, guys, doing tennis sounds for the audio people.
As you motion
As I motion.
forehands and backhands.
Yes, yes. You know what? Watch it on YouTube. That's kind of, what you gotta listen to. Sometimes you don't get some stuff because we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
It happens.
We love the audio feed, listeners.
Love
but,
y'all, man. Amen. The audio feed, man. Make sure to check us out on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Radio Republic, Stitcher.
Google Podcast is going away, so they're gonna put the podcast in YouTube Music, I believe, soon.
Okay, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Amazon
Google,
Music,
Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Radio Republic, Anchor, which was formerly known now as Spotify for podcasters. That the Brazilian Podcasting Network. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we love the audio feed, listeners. But if you want the full experience with the visuals, you got to watch this on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, apparently, we're at 126 subscribers. I don't know how that happened. So shout out to everyone who subscribed. So shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man. I don't know what video made it the way it was, but appreciate you.
Yeah.
But on that note, Adelia, where can people find you?
You can find me on this channel every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific for Starting 11 with our buddy Snark, talking all things English Premier League. We had a shorter week last week where there was only 5 matches because they split the match week up between 2 weekends. And our episode was still 50 minutes long. So expect another episode like that this week with the remaining matches from match week 21. And we'll be getting back soon next week to the Rewatchers Council. We're up to the episode The Puppet Show. I hate ventriloquist dummies. I hated this episode. That's all I'll say. That's Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific on the Entertainment Channel. Link to that channel in the description of this episode. And Fares and I will be back with the Open Table on Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific, talking about a bunch of stuff that's been on our minds since the start of the year. So.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So on that note, everyone, I'm Fares and Adelia. Feel me? At Fares and Adelia. Find me here. Like Adelia said, on the rally on occasion. Also every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific. Me and Caleb talk American football. Good friends, better rivals. 3 o'clock Pacific. Adelia, like I said, I'm on the Open Table. I'm on the Rewatch Council. That's pretty much all I got. Everyone have a wonderful day. See y'all next time, and I hope you guys enjoy a great tennis, because it's been tremendous. Shout out to the Happy Slam, Australia.
Love
one
it.
day, one day, Adelia, me and you are gonna go to Australia. Okay. We're gonna cover this.
Yeah, we'll get our press passes.
Exactly, and I'll bring my podcasting equipment, and we'll record just audio versions. Well, we can also connect the camera if we want to.
Yeah,
I think
we could do a video version. I think.
Yeah, I think we can. But on that note, everyone, have a wonderful day. See you guys next time. Peace.